Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Well, welcome. My name is Devvrat. I'm a Senior Assistant Dean of International Admissions here at Reed College in Portland, Oregon. Um, I am joined by some awesome individuals who I'm going to have introduce themselves here in just a second. But this event is the International Student Panel, International Student Experience Panel. So this is a great opportunity to ask questions about what it's like to be an international student, what that transition was like, and get those questions answered. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Gwen to introduce herself first, and then we'll just popcorn it around.
Sounds great. Thanks, Dev. Hi, everybody. My name is Gwen Sanford. I use she or they pronouns. I'm the program director for International Student Services here at Reed College, and this is my third year being at Reed. So I'm here to help answer questions that might come up about immigration, like documents, visas, what comes next as students get ready to enroll at Reed. And then the students will have a lot of great experience from their lived experiences of being Reedies here on campus. So I will pass it on to Yugoa.
Hello everyone, I'm Yu Guo, and currently a sophomore majoring in philosophy.
Natalie, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, my name's Natalie. I am a freshman and I'm studying political science. And I pass it.
And hi, I'm Pav. I am a senior statistics major. I use he pronouns.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here. For those of you who are uh, an admitted student, a prospective student, feel free to put your questions in the chat box. So if you wiggle your mouse around, the chat option will come up at the bottom there. Click on that, and you can submit your questions, and I'll ask those questions to our audience or to our panel. But let's go ahead and start off. And if all of you could take a second to answer this question, what was your college search process like? So Bob, if you want to go ahead and start.
Yeah, sure. My college cert process has been 4 years. It was we worked with counselors in India who helped me narrow down like a list of colleges. I applied to about 15, and most of them were on the West Coast. I was looking at mostly like liberal arts colleges. So anything with like a decent statistics or math program, I had like a few Excel sheets with like a decent amount of college names and possible colleges, and like divided up into like ideal, safety, and whatever comes between there.
Awesome. Anyone else want to go next?
I go. So of course, first step is as Wolf said, always decide that you want a bigger university or arts colleges. And if you narrow it down to liberal arts colleges, then of course, I was considering locations, academic rigor, and also school vibe, of course, like students vibe. And these were exactly the three elements that got me interested in Reed eventually, because we have a pretty good location in a very good community in Portland. So that means that if you want a quiet moment to just enjoy by yourself, you can have it. But at the same time, you're not too isolated. You want to just hang out with friends on weekends. There are a lot of great spots that are within 10 minutes of drive from school. So of course, location, and we're so academically rigorous. I love it. Great professors, great courses. And also the vibe. Students are very chill. You're not going to be judged according to whatever you want to do. So and no one is just so ultra competitive. So pretty chill. Yeah.
Yeah, they summed it up pretty nicely. I was also very interested in the West Coast. Like I had family in California, so growing up I got to go to California every once in a while, and that kind of transitioned into like, ooh, what if I go to school here? And then from there it became, okay, what environment seems right for me that will challenge me in a positive way. So yeah.
Awesome. And can you all maybe talk about, we're all different, you're all from different countries, you're all different um, uh, uh, levels in college right now, or years in school. That's what I was trying to say. Um, what has your experience been like with student life? Maybe if you can all unpack a little bit of the things that you're involved with on campus and what that experience has been like for you all. And Natalie, if you wouldn't mind going first.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Guadalajara, Mexico. And when I first got to Reed, I was very interested in finding like a Latino community to connect with on campus. I know a lot of my friends who went to like bigger state schools, like they had Hispanic student services and things like that. So I immediately tried to get involved with them. And since then, we've hosted balls and we have meetings and we eat food from back home. And I know that that's just been like a lovely community to have near.
Who wants to go next?
I can go. So I have been like, so I am from Chandigarh, India, and I arrived like almost 4 years ago at this point, and since then I've been involved with ISS and specifically ISAB, the International Student Advisory Board, and I've been coordinator for like the last year and this year. So that's generally where like I found my international community and especially like a lot of the friends that I made. So definitely like involvement with ISAB as an international student was very key. Like we organize international events on campus and like there's just like it forms this like support group for a lot of international students because there's no barrier to entry, anyone can volunteer. So it was a great experience to like especially assimilate initially, and that along with like the interconnect mentor program, which I'm sure like students already like have heard about from ISS. So yeah, like those things, those groups were very fundamental in like part of my assimilation and like definitely student life now still at Reed, like very much there.
And can you briefly also talk about what Interconnect Mentor is, just for those who maybe aren't aware of it?
Yeah, for sure. The Interconnect mentor program is for freshmen or like for new international students, and you are given one mentor. You're in a group of about 5 to 6 students generally, and you have one mentor. You check in with them throughout the year, during orientation, and like throughout the year generally. Like you have things you do, you have events you go to, you have team building exercises, your friend making exercises, if that's what you want to call it. There's like you guys go out, it's super helpful to like also like get used to Portland as a city. Like going out, like well, I think one of my first trips was downtown, and I still like I'm still close to the friend group that I was part of then. So like definitely like with assimilation and like that group is was very fundamental for me, and I hope it can be for other people. But yeah, that's generally what the Interconnect Mentor program is. But like, if you want like more official information, I'm sure Gwen is more resourceful. And then there's the ISS website.
I'll just say that I think Bob did a great job covering like for the student perspective, what's going into that. And just right before I started this meeting, I was also getting ready some training materials for our new mentors. So we just hired all of our new mentors who will be the returning Reedies who are assigned to help new students navigate their first semester on campus. And I think one of the exciting things to know is that they have budget and funding to take students off campus or like buy a meal. And so I think that's always really appreciated. Like it just a little bit of help to get around the city when you're new here in Portland, and a chance to eat something maybe familiar or try something new. There's a lot of great restaurants in town. So.
Awesome. And Hugo, do you want to answer the question about campus life and sort of how you're involved?
Yeah, I think Natalie and both answers pretty much covered all I had to say about that. But yeah, I want to add one thing about interconnect mentor program. I didn't really sign up for that, but I stopped by several of the events of that program, and I felt like really an opportunity to dig deeper into like more fun things in Poland is definitely one of the most impressive thing about this program. Yeah.
Cool. Um, Anyone can tackle this. It doesn't have to be whoever wants to. But can you talk about the transition from your home countries to Reed to Portland? What was that transition like? Um, and what programs did Reed have to sort of help with that transition? And if you could expand upon that a little bit further.
You okay with me answering? Like just the move to Portland was daunting for sure, and there's like a little bit of like there's definitely a culture shock with Portland, but like Reed is sort of its own like bubble culture, whatever you want to call it, within itself, which is even more of a culture shock. So like definitely like getting used to first the college and then also the city is now wasn't the easiest for me, but like definitely like ISS resources were very helpful, and like a lot of the programs are super helpful, and definitely like ISS mentorship, like whoever like with Gwen, with Fiona now, and ISAB internet mentors, like it made it a lot easier. But definitely like the time you have during international student orientation, the week that is just international students, is a great time to go explore the college and Portland for that week. It's a great time to like get used to when like you have an extra week to like assimilate to like so the shock going into the semester is a little lower. And definitely like read academics is also a little challenging, if I can say that. But like that's definitely like a feature, not a flaw. And there's enough tutoring, there's enough resources on the side, there's like professors are super helpful, which is like the best part about this college. Like very genuinely the best part about this college. And so like you just have to ask. That's my best advice for this. Like people will reach out. Like ISS does care a lot, and hence the interconnect mentor program is like fairly involved. But reaching out and just asking for help, you will find help. Like Reed is generally pretty good with it, and like there's like I would say generally be prepared for a culture shock, but it does get better. Like it does get okay, and like sometimes asking for help is what you need.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could go first, Natalie, please.
thank you. Yeah, in my experience, like getting here, I was just on like running on adrenaline. I was so excited, and it didn't really hit me until probably like a month in. I was like, oh my God, I'm living in another country without my parents, without my sister. It's just it hits you all of a sudden. And something Bob was talking about a lot is there's always help if you seek it out, and support. I feel like Reed has such a tight-knit community in the sense that I could go to my HA, like my hall advisor, or to like a friend down the hall, or even someone I didn't know, and I could just be like, hey, I'm feeling kind of homesick. And they'll be like, oh my God, like I'm so sorry to hear that. What can we do to make you feel more at home? Or like, how can we turn this day around for you for the better? And I know that happened to me, and my friends and I went to get tacos. We went on a little adventure, all because you just have to be like honest and vulnerable, which scary, but Reedies just they love to help and love to make people feel really at home. So try to make some friends on your floor. You know, talk to your HA. They're there to help you. And yeah, that would be my advice.
Yeah, I definitely do that a lot. And so, except for this, another aspect is academics. So when I first came here, of course, I feel like I am initially from China, and two things that I'm struggling about, like one thing is in life. I really wasn't used to having those small conversations, small talks with your peer students that you just encountered for once or twice in your classes, and of course your professors. Because just in my hometown, like Asian people were introverts. This is a stereotype, but in my hometown, it's really the case that people are not we're not so used to just talking about weathers and things around you to people you just met for once or twice. But this is also a good way to just know more people and connect with more people at college. So what I did was just to like practice. You're gonna admit that you have this a little bit of like language barriers that you have to get used to. Of course, in class, like you can't. For me, I'm from China, so my native language is Chinese instead of English, and I might need more time to process what people were saying and what I wanted to say, both in class and in those casual conversations. But yeah, I have to say that people are so nice that no one has ever frowned or just acted in any impatient manner when I had to take time to organize my thoughts. So people are very accommodating. So just still ask for help if you think you need them, no matter it's in the classroom or outside of the classrooms. Like for academics, you will be very, very I like to say just such a cultural shock when you realize like how much reading you have to do for your Hume 110 in English. Just even like a little bit too much of a workload for some native students. So just ask the professors for help and accommodations. Both the professors and students around you and staffs around you are really, really helpful and accommodating.
Can I quickly add on to what you just said? I remember this, I don't know if this was new for this incoming year, but they invited us international students to meet with the professor. Dustin that's his name. That's who we met with this year. And Dustin was literally in charge of like helping us through potential language barriers or workload barriers that we would face coming to this new climate. And that was extremely helpful, I know, for a bunch of my peers too, just to have someone to ricochet ideas off of, because sometimes even like essay structure varies a bit, and just talking through and having that staff support was really helpful.
Yeah, big fan of Dustin. He also laughs at all my jokes, so I appreciate that about him. Bob talked about orientation and orientation week, and specifically international orientation. Gwen, I was hoping maybe you could speak a little bit more to what students can expect during orientation, how international orientation works, if you wouldn't mind maybe unpacking that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Let me, I'm going to put, so we call International Student Orientation ISO. So I'm going to put a link to that page in the chat. We'll expect to see all students who are on an F1 or a J1 visa. We'll expect to see you at International Student Orientation. If you are a US passport holder or a green card holder, but you have lived internationally or you identify as an international student, or you're invited to come. You're welcome, and we love having these students as part of our community and our group. And but it makes international student orientation optional for those folks. International Student Orientation and then another program at Reed called the Peer Mentor Program are two of the pre-orientation programs. So it's a mini orientation and kind of activity, fun, acclimation period that is available to a specific group at Reed that happens before the full class of first year students arrive. So this year it will begin on August 17th. That's the day that new international students can move into campus. So that's like, I think like 4 or 5 days earlier than the big first year class. And then there'll be just one day on the 17th of just move in, get settled in, rest, kind of get oriented. We'll have a little casual dinner and activity for anybody that's feeling up for that evening. And then the next day, the orientation activities will start with, and we'll talk about kind of expectations for the weekend, the cultural adjustment process. I think Natalie was talking about that, like you're running on adrenaline for like the first month, and then you get like a month in, and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, I'm not able to find the food that I'm used to. Maybe the weather is changing and it's new and different for you too. Like adjusting to the way that the classroom operates can be really different. Like Hugo was mentioning, like the people in the culture in Portland. I think Bob was mentioning this too. It can be very different even for people coming from different parts of the United States. So that all starts to catch up with people generally like a couple weeks to a month in. So we talk about expecting that, and that that's a process of big life changes. We do some sessions with faculty and professors and some campus partners that come and share information like insider tips for new students. And then the mentors that are the returning Reed students will take their mentees, their small group of new students, on a tour off campus and do either like a fun activity or try out a restaurant nearby, see some of the Portland sites. And then we'll have some kind of functional like tours around campus, help point new students to where they're trying to get. I think last year we did a little walking tour to nearby resources that are not on campus, but they're nearby. You can get to them without public transportation or without a car. And so that will last from the 18th to the 21st of August. And then on August 21st, that's when all the new first year students arrive. And it's very exciting, but it's also really chaotic. So it can be nice for the new international students to have a few more days to adjust to jet lag, get a sense of campus, get settled in, like moved into your dorm, so that as you go into general orientation, you just have like a little bit more stamina and readiness for that.
Awesome, thank you. And while I have you, Gwen, can you also maybe talk about, you brought up the visa part. Can you maybe talk about what an admitted student needs to do to get the I-20 visa process started?
Yeah. I'll put a link to this page in the chat, but all new students should get an email from our office, from ISS and the admission office to point you to this page. But the main visa category that most international students are going to come to the United States in, if they're not a US passport holder or they're not a permanent resident, most of our students are going to come to the United States in F1 visa status. So an F1 visa holder is a degree-seeking student. You're coming to Reed with the intention of getting your degree at Reed, or like a bachelor's degree in the United States. And so in order to do that, my office needs to issue you a document called the I-20. It's basically your individual document that describes your academic program here at Reed. And with that I-20 document, you can schedule an appointment at a US consulate or visa and apply for your visa to come to the United States. The catch is that the US government requires that every school that issues an I-20, that we verify a student has financial support for one academic year before we can actually make the I-20. And so to do that, we ask students to complete a certification of finances. It's a worksheet that just helps to identify where funding is going to come from for one academic year. And then if that's going to be personal funding or like a scholarship, an outside scholarship that's not Reed, or maybe you have a guardian sponsorship or something through their work, you submit supporting documents with that worksheet. And then you also send a copy of the biographical page of your passport, so I can make sure that I spell your name correctly and your date of birth is matching your travel document. So we ask you to submit that to the International Student Services Office, and then we will issue the I-20, and we'll send that to you by email, and so that you can use the information in that to get started on your visa appointment request. I know that the wait times to get an appointment really vary by country by country and city by city for the consulates. So what I recommend is that if you're in this process, you schedule the soonest appointment that you can. And if that is an appointment that's happening after the start date at Reed, for Reed's fall semester, that schedule your appointment, the first appointment that you can get, even if it's after the fall start date. And then the US embassies and consulates should be offering kind of an expedited appointment when your school program date gets to like X number of days, your X number of days out from that program start date. So for example, like a consulate might say, we will consider you for an expedited student visa appointment if your school program date starts in 30 days. And so then at that point, you have access to request an expedited appointment. And then if you have questions about your specific individual case, you can email us at iss@reed.edu, and then we'll help answer those. And just a note too that right now it's April 14th. It's also one of the busier times for our office. So as you're sending the documents, it can take we're probably at 3 to 4 business days at the fastest to turn those I-20s around. So as things lighten up on our workload, we'll get those out faster. But right now it's like probably a 3 to 4 day turnaround. And then I will put the link into the chat for the certification of finances and kind of getting started on requesting your I-20. And then I will also mention that there's a couple students that I know of that are in different visa statuses. So those cases, like I said, most students come to Reed in an F1 visa status. If you have a different visa status or kind of a more specific question about your transition, please reach out to ISS, and then we'll probably just schedule like a one-on-one time to either meet or we'll coordinate by email.
Awesome, thanks, Gwen. And just to add one more thing to that, the I-20 process doesn't start until you've deposited. So if you are an admitted student, awesome. Make sure you submit that both deposits before we get that process going for you. So just something to think about. And as a reminder, that a deposit deadline is coming up on May 1st, but you are welcome to deposit sooner and get that process going sooner. Awesome. Reed is a campus full of traditions. I got to witness the owl fight for the first time very recently. I'd heard so many stories about it, but it was really fun to witness it in person. I'm wondering if for the students here, are there any Reed traditions that stand out to you that you enjoy or that excite you? And anyone can go first.
I guess definitely my favorite one is Ren Fair. Like, I have my last one coming up in less than a month, which is exciting, but also a little nerve-wracking. But yeah, Ren Fair has definitely been like my favorite Reed tradition. The owl fight is also fun. I was part of it last year. Then for definitely something for freshmen, noise parade is a big one. Noise parade during orientation week is how you is your initiation into Reed. And so noise parade gives you an idea of what it's gonna look like. So yeah, but my favorite definitely Ren Fair.
Can you tell us what all of those are? So, what is noise
Oh
parade?
yeah,
What is Ren Fair? I know I brought up the owl fight, but if you could talk about what the owl fight.
yeah. Um, so Renfair, for lack of a better term, is a 3-day party. There's a lot of events. There's like Reed has like a Reed has the balls all over, like, so there's a lot of like throughout the year you'll have like parties with like specific music, specific clubs organizing it, and Renfair has that for 2 nights. It's like a free for all party sort of thing for about 3 days, generally to celebrate seniors who are leaving, who are graduating. Um, and there's a lot of events during the day. There's a lot of plays. There's some Reed traditional things which like I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure if you Google them, you will find them. Uh, but Ren Fair is a big Reed tradition. There's the noise parade which happens during orientation week, which is drummers and people with pots and pans will do like a loop of campus, making noise, getting people up, coming out. Happens, I think, at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., maybe 10 p.m. Within 8 or 10 p.m., sometime it happens. And you go on campus making noise. It's like a little initiation thing. Then you kill Amanda Reed at the end of it, which I don't want to spoil for anyone, but is again like a sort of like play-esque. And yeah, then there's the Doyle Owl fight, which is Reed has has like a big owl, like a concrete owl, which people fight over and like in the mud, in the rain, fighting over it, and like someone has to take it home at the end of it. I don't know. I don't know what the prize is other than the owl itself. But yeah, there was someone like I think this year like we made the pride flag on it and everything. It was like the owl is finally cool. So yeah, it's like there's strange traditions, but they're all very fun.
Sweet. Anyone else have other traditions that they're fond of?
I know I have a new favorite. It's uh definitely
Okay,
glitched. Hold on. There we go.
there you are.
There we go. I'm
I think
back.
you're back. Yep.
uh yeah, Hume play. So every freshman has to take Hume 110. It's like this big freshman seminar. You'll take it with all your friends. It's fantastic. And around the end of the year, some upperclassmen, usually sophomores, will direct a play about the contents of Hume 110. So I have a lot of friends that are going to act in it. There are 3 shows, and you just go support your peers and see everything you've learned really like unfold at the end of the year. It's a really nice like way to close out your freshman year.
Thank you. Hugo, do you have any?
Yeah, of course. So my favorite will be, I think we have both that you can go to the student unions every week, normally on Friday or Saturday's night. And sometimes we have great DJs that play great songs. Like you can find all kinds of songs that you're into, no matter that's funk, rock, or disco night. Disco nights was really, really fun last semester. So I really enjoy, like having fun and perhaps just hanging out with friends there and yeah, doing a little bit of dance there. So it's really interesting. And we have great DJs as well. Like today, for an example, we had this spring fling activity where we actually have fun on those inflatable castles, huge inflatable castles placed on the before the great campus center. And the DJ was playing Ryuichi Sakamoto. It's amazing. Yeah. And also the cherry blossoms. I don't know if that counts with any kind of tradition, but of course, when you have this condition, you have we have so beautiful. The cherry blossoms are so beautiful. So of course you can do whatever you want under those blossom trees. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy the cherry blossoms. My half of my office went outside today, and all took pictures together under the cherry blossoms. So that was a lot of fun. Great. We got a question in the chat that I thought was awesome, and that is how would you talk about that, or how would you describe the academics at Reed? How much time do you normally spend studying? What's the course load like? I'm also expanding upon this question here a little bit, but anybody can start there.
Uh, I will go again. Uh, so like read academics is definitely hard. Like there's no sugarcoating it. There's no like if you're coming here, I'm sure you're aware of it. You've heard it somewhere. Like it's like the first college in the list of top 10 colleges that will kick your butt. So it was like a popular article that went around my freshman year. But read academics, like a lot of it depends on the classes you're taking, sometimes by major, sometimes by division, sometimes by group. There's a lot of like course loads are different. Like something like a Math 141 or intro statistics, the course load for that class compared to let's say an introductory psychology class could be very different. Like something like so surprisingly, my upper level math class, mathematical statistics that I'm doing this semester, has a lower course load than my intro statistics class did. So course load varies by major, varies with professor, varies with a lot of different things. But like overall is fairly challenging. But Reed has enough resources where you can reach out and get help. Definitely the tutoring system is definitely professors. Like one of my friends, like his favorite line is like most of your learning happens outside of class. And by outside of class, he generally means office hours. So Reed has great resources for that. In terms of like the hours I spend studying every day, that changes. I am not as consistent as I would like to be, but uh like a couple hours a day will generally be fine. There'll be times where like with midterms or with like paper deadlines or that sort, the workload will change. Some weeks you'll be super free, some weeks you will be busier than you've ever been in your life. And like for as like an international student perspective, like Hume 110 is a good gauge of what course load looks like. From time to time, they do throw you in the deep end of academic work, but making it through there generally means you can make it through most of Reed, or it like at least like puts you in the right headspace. And yeah, like there will be changes like just dealing with like academics and moving or like setting up your bedroom or like just getting over homesickness, finding the right food, finding friends. It's definitely not the easiest, but people get through it. There's enough support systems here. There's enough people who are also going through it, so you're not alone. And yeah, like it's hard, but like at the end of it, it's very fun. Like especially if you like learning, if if you enjoy knowledge, you will do fairly well. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely piggybacking off of that, like Reedies are smart. Like everyone here is so smart. You guys so smart. And it's really all about learning to navigate the workload, work habits, study habits. All that I feel like is definitely something that Reed challenges you to really develop. Fantastic resources like the dojo, the Dorothy Johansson building for tutoring, and yeah, a lot of it's just discipline. It's your friends are hanging out in the common room and you want to go and saying like, you know what, I have this reading I have to do. It's all manageable because I mean also professors want you to be at least to some degree, happy and well. But yeah, it's a lot about finding little pockets of time and reaching out for support. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all of the answers we have right now. Is that it's really hard. No doubt it's really rigorous, but it's still worth it. I'll take myself as an example. I am a philosophy major, so now I'm taking in total three, I would like to humanity classes in political sciences and philosophy as those two majors. So, for example, for each of these three classes, I have two 80-minute long conferences each week, and for each conference, I would like to say the workload for you to complete the reading before each conference is like at least 2 hours per conference, because you want to just read through the materials and also get a little sense of what you are most interested about these pieces. Like at the very beginning, you will feel that it's hard. It's very hard. There's a lot of readings, and you would just be shocked by that. But just as the conferences go, I would like to say you will really be so genuinely dragged into the contents, the topics of this conference, that you will truly, sincerely enjoy what you are doing. So those 2 hours are like, it's gonna pass in a minute eventually. And also all the professors are very accommodating. So at some hard stages when you have so many tasks to do so that you have to like give yourself a little break, you can always ask for extensions if you are really going through something difficult. The professors are all very accommodating.
Awesome. And I want to add a little bit to this conversation as well, and kind of picking off a little bit about what Natalie said, in that Reedies are smart, right? These are really bright, awesome students. If you're sitting here, watching this video or watching the recording and and feeling this sense of imposter syndrome, right? This feeling of, well, I don't know if I'm smart enough, or I don't know if I belong there. I want you to know that you do. We put a lot of work and attention and time into reviewing your application, to reviewing the materials that you submit, and to getting to know you. That you earned your spot here. So I hope all of this is to sort of encourage you, and help you understand the passion that people have at Reed for this level of intellectual curiosity and pursuing what they're passionate about, and learning and growing. Is Reed hard? Sure, right? But college is meant to challenge you, right? College is meant to push you to those limits of what you think you can do, and you will be surprised how much you will accomplish in your 4 years here. In such a short amount of time, you will accomplish such incredible work, and gain so much insight and knowledge into all these amazing areas that you're really excited about. So if you're sitting here getting a little scared about the academics, I want you to know that we wouldn't have admitted you if we didn't think that you could handle it. We wouldn't have admitted you if we didn't think that you were going to prosper and excel. And so I hope you, if anything, you leave with that thought going out here. Great. We've got another great question. How much does the rainy and humid climate affect your mood and everything? Great question, because I'm sure we all come from very different parts of the world. Anyone want to tackle that one? Portland is a very rainy city. The Pacific Northwest is known to be a pretty wet climate. How do you all fare with that?
I mean, I'm from sunny Mexico, and it was definitely a very abrupt change, especially this year. We had like October break, the week in October, off, and before that it was sunny and beautiful and happy, and the birds were chirping, and then October break came and it was immediately like rainy, gloomy, scary. But I mean, honestly, our campus is really beautiful. There's so much nature, and seeing the way the nature responds to the rain and to the gloom, and seeing how, like, okay, maybe there's no sun, but there's like a street light's glimmering on this little pond that's running through like the canyon. Like that's, you just learn to find beauty in other things. And also for like physical effects, I know at like the darkest eras of this year, the library was renting vitamin D lights. So it's like a little light you plug in, and you're pretty much like a little lizard in a cage. You just like soak in these little false sun rays, and it really just does make you feel, at least in my case, like back at home, back with some sun. Yeah.
Uh, I mean, today was sunny, which was good, but uh, like with how rainy it is, like you'll generally get used to it, and that makes it a little easier for sure. Just like buy a raincoat, and like generally you'll be fine. And like in my personal experience, like sometimes like you do hate the weather, but like pop some vitamin D, like watch something, just have a moment with yourself. Like sometimes rain is nice, but yeah, it can get a little annoying at times, and like definitely like uh a downer, but like you definitely appreciate the sunny days a little more. And like going out, like the rain like feels like a barrier, but it's never raining too hard. It's like a one thing that I definitely realized, like where I'm from, like we have monsoon. So like there'll be like a month where like you just cannot walk outside without like being drenched. But Portland rain is a little different. Like a lot of it is just drizzle. So it's never too bad. And the days it is, like everyone knows it is. So generally it's fine, but something you have to get used to for sure. But not something that's like super hindering. Like just sort of like keep an open mind, like, and you'll be fine.
I feel like another little tidbit about Reed students is that they have a hatred for the umbrella. You will never see a Reedie walking around with an umbrella. It could be raining cats and dogs, and they will be just walking around in a hoodie, accepting their fate. I'm not one of those people. I carry my umbrella on me constantly. So there's no shame if you do. Just want to make that a public statement.
I I literally wrote umbrella. Oh, I guess you can't say the post note umbrella because I wanted to bring that up. So I'm glad you did that as well. Don't let anyone bully you into not using an umbrella. I come in with my $40 massive umbrella that covers me and probably like 15 people around me, honestly, if they wanted to squeeze in. And I have no shame about it. And I have been in Oregon for over 20 years. Nobody wants to be wet. It's not fun to be shivering in a cold hoodie. So don't let anyone stop you from using it. Nobody will stop you, but don't let anyone peer pressure you out of it. The other thing I want to talk about with the rain as well is, um, like Bob said, it's not a lot of like it's not like downpouring the whole time, right? It might be drizzling here, maybe a little bit harder rain there, then another drizzle for the rest of the day. The payoff for all of this rain, though, is how beautiful the Pacific Northwest is. And I'm seeing a lot of head nods. Um, One of my favorite fun facts is that Reed has more trees than people on campus. We also have a gorgeous, beautiful canyon in the middle of our campus that thrives because of the rain. If you're a hiker, if you like to be outdoors, if you like to be in nature, that's the payoff for the rain, right? It is, um, we're the greenest part of the entire United States, and while the rain can sometimes feel like a lot, I promise you the beauty that comes with it is worth the payoff. So, I know we're running close to time here, and I wanted to ask another question. And maybe Natalie, we can start with you. Um, and what advice would you give to new students who are contemplating studying in the U.S. for the first time? What advice? How should they prep for this?
Ooh, okay. I don't know. It's a lot of it, like no matter what research you do, how much mental preparing you do, you're gonna get here and you're just gonna like face the music in the best way possible. But you're gonna get here and you're going to be in this new place. The best thing I could recommend is like networking. You know, you make friends with anyone you can. Everyone wants to make friends when they get to college. Everyone's so social. So the second you step foot on campus, like that person next to you and waiting for water, like chit chat, have a little combo. And from there, you'll start to build these networks of friendship and support that will carry you through your read experience. And having that like little cushion, I think is so nice. Like I know I met Bob and Hugo like the first week during ISO, and I still have a good relationship with them. I see them in the halls. We smile, we wave, and I know that they have my back for whatever. So just coming here with an open mind and an open heart is like the best preparation you can do.
Natalie generally covered like what I would have said, but if I can add to the last question, I still have not bought an umbrella, and I'm very proud of that. But you do you. But like in terms of like getting used to like academia here, as Natalie said, there's nothing that can prepare you for it. Just make friends, like make friends with your professor if you can. It's very helpful. They're almost always very cool people. 99% of the interactions you're gonna have with them are very cool. So like also like generally as international students, like our relationships with our professors is very different compared to students here. Like I mean back home, like I have to call my professors ma'am and sir. Like that is not a thing here. You can address them by first name and like it changes the dynamic a lot. Like even just that's a very small switch. Like you're not inferior to them in any way. They're not going to make you feel inferior to them. You're like you're at par with them. They might be smarter, but they're there to help you. Like they might have knowledge that like you would want to have. So like definitely be open to like talking to professors and like communicating with them. But beyond that, like generally just be open to accepting change because like a lot will change, and like comparing myself to like who I was 4 years ago is super different. Like before coming here versus like having spent a participle of my thesis in like 14 days. It was like I'm having like a little bit of a nostalgic moment. But uh like accepting change was like a very fundamental thing that like helped me get through read and like enjoy my experience for the most part.
Yeah, so my answer towards this question would be firstly, I want to just briefly mention that I didn't know until today that person under that huge umbrella was you, Dev. So this, I'm happy to find out this truth that I've been wondering for a long time. And another thing is that I think, yeah, I'm just gonna duplicate a bit on Bob's answer that really talk to your professors as much as you can. But I want to add on one of my personal experiences as just to make this point more vivid, if I can. So really the professors, they are so extraordinary in a way that they are so strong, but they're all so strong in their theoretical background and everything, but at the same time they're so humble. They really, you can tell that they're genuinely passionate in what they're doing, and that is really contagious. And you can just very much get influenced by this attitude in their classes. And also, like I'm taking a poli-sci classes like social movement, that you're going to learn about revolutions and uprisings in all countries around the globe. And my professor is Mariela Debbie, who who's from Argentina, and specializes in this area. And she's just really extraordinary. Like she knows a lot about Latin America, the US, but she always appreciates how I compares the theory and the knowledge I learned in class to apply it to my home country, like this complex political background and also situations in China. And she's like really, really genuinely want to know more about China, which is a field that she knows not as much as she knows about Latin America. So that she will say that, like, can you come to my office later that I can, if you need me to just give you feedback on your papers, and at the same time I can learn from you about your background and your thoughts like that. So yeah, it's just really, really great. So go talk to your professor. You will find something that you've never realized that, or you never expected you were getting before.
I love that. Thank you so much. Last question here, and this is for everybody, Gwen included. Um, Really quickly, if you can all just mention, what is your favorite spot on campus?
I can go. I know. My favorite, I don't know how to pronounce it actually, but it's the the surf or the Kerf amphitheater, which is this like really amazing like wooden plank rounded amphitheater that looks into the canyon, and so you can like sit and eat lunch, or you can I don't know, they do performances and I don't know, fire dancing sometimes, and like all sorts of great reedy stuff, and it's like it's just unbelievably beautiful. I'll try and find a photo and put it in the chat.
Okay, I would like to say that the restroom in the lower level, first floor at the library, you have so many creative graffitis on the walls. It's like one of your spiritual homeland that you can never find here. Yeah, the restrooms.
Mine kind of goes with you goes a lot. I love the library. It's so big and it's pretty much just like a Franken building. Like generations and generations have been like adding different sections onto it. So you'll be in one section, you'll be like, oh, this is like old Reed. And then you'll be in like this weird 70s section all of a sudden. And it kind of just emphasizes like Reed's history and how Reed just keeps building off of each other. And it's so much fun to just get lost there, exploring all the little back rooms.
I think mine would have to be Elliott Circle. Like definitely like a cool, like nice hangout spot right after class. Like you see your friend, you see all the people, like you stand on the circle, you smoke, you talk. It's like it's a fun time, very, very like very social, and it's super central. So like you see everyone, you see everything, and like everyone sort of like congregates there. So I think just like its location and like just like talking, like you get to have like a little like reflection session after class. The fun spot.
I love it. That's awesome. Mine is a little bit of a strange place, but we have a dorm building called ODB. It's Old Dorm Block. It's right. Um, it basically shapes at one end of our quad, and it's in between our quad and our great lawn. And in ODB, there's a archway that connects the Great Lawn to the quad, and I take my dog for a walk every day. I bring my dog to work with me every day, and I take him on a walk, and we walk from Elliott Hall over to ODB underneath the arch, and then back to Elliott Hall every twice a day, every day. And I just love the like contrast of how different both sides of the campus are from that archway. And every day I like reminisce on that as we walk through it. So that's probably my favorite place. All right, friends. We are a little out of time here, so thank you all so much for attending. Thank you so much for those of you who asked questions. If you do think of other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. My email address is right there above my head, so it's Devvrat. That's Devvrat. That's two V's, not a W, at reed.edu. And I am happy to answer questions or connect you to any one of these folks that were on this call today. A huge thank you to Gwen, Natalie, Bob, and Hugo for taking time out of your evening to answer questions and talk a little bit more about their lived experiences as living, breathing, current Reedy students and staff. And that being said, I will also be emailing out this recording to everyone. So if you want to go back and rewind and listen to a certain part again, you definitely can. Thanks so much, everyone, and have a great rest of your evening, day, morning, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.